Hello and welcome to a special edition of A Better Life. I'm your host, Dr. Lucas Fry, along with a couple of friends I'm going to get to in just a moment. But it's the 15th of March and everybody is wondering what's going on in the world. Well, there's a lot that we have to talk about this week, but these two people have got some things that they want to share with you that I feel is very important that we get out there, because there's places that don't exist that need to exist so that we can remember our past, appreciate our past, learn from our past, and move forward. And I would like you to welcome to the show Mr. Mike Shepard, if I get that right?
Yep.
You got it
And
right.
Debbie
Trailer.
Trailer. Like a movie trailer. How about that?
Not that trailer.
Not that type of trailer.
Yeah, the other one.
Mike, you've been in the business a long time. Tell us a little bit about your history and what all you've done.
I've played music for most of my life, and I've been in the business in Baton Rouge in South Louisiana since about 1962, 63, which is most of my life. And at one point, I played a little bit. I promoted more shows than I played. I enjoyed that. The challenge of bringing people on stage, producing a show, and having the audience happy.
Sure.
It's a good thing. And as it got in time in 1979, a friend of mine said, "Man, you can help me. Why don't you help me put together a Louisiana Music Hall of Fame?" We started worked on that. He worked on it himself. He bankrupted in a short time.
Sure.
Never inducted a single artist. But the whole premise and then was we started the music in this country and the world, a lot of different genres, including rock and roll. And because we started them so early, these people are dying. They're past their lifetime.
Sure.
He passed out of it, got out of it, and in about 2005, I said, "The hell with it, we're going to do this right and do it again," and started. Now, I reached out to him. His name is Del Moon. And I reached out to Del, and Del joined my board in support. And since then, we are inducted our first Hall of Famers in 2007. So it's now 225, 235 inducted Hall of Famers. And
So this has been around 10 years.
over 10 years. Yeah, and it's reflected on our website. And our website, if you look at the home page and go to the bottom, the counter is accurate. It's 2,100,000 and some odd thousand people have visited that website.
Well, there's an interest for it. I mean, a lot of people want to know the history and know where their roots came from, and music especially.
And I've watched the hits come in. They come in day and night, which means it's international coming in.
Sure. Now, how did you get involved, Debbie?
I have been singing since I was 12. I was in beauty pageants, and then I started singing at 12. John Fred, Judy in the Skies, and the Playboys signed me at 12 years old. He believed in me, and he believed that I was one of the next stars, and got behind me. We had people like Irma Thomas, LaRue, Randy Jackson in the studios. I got to meet all of these people. Alan Toussaint ended up signing me. And throughout the years, I did Nashville, this, that, and the other, rock, country, pop. I've opened for Toby Keith, Kenny Chesney, Neil McCoy. We're talking about real. What I can tell you is real. I've been married 38 years. I know what it's like to be a woman in the industry, and I wasn't willing to do certain things to get to that level. But I've done more and than a lot of artists have
Sure you have.
since I was 12.
But how did you come about to work with him in the
Well,
association?
Michael and I have known each other for
Yeah.
quite a long time. Him and my husband
Since
worked
she was
together.
about this high, too.
Yep, since I was 12. I met him through then. And so we've been working on this for a long, long time. And we have a building right now that we have a Hall of Fame and we need some help on it. So the album that you have up, the Christmas album, which I'm on, and a lot of greats, Jimmy Davis.
This is a fundraiser that people can go to the website.
Absolutely.
And get and it's got just I mean, literally there's 44 different songs on here, and artists ranging from everybody you've never heard of to people you really have heard of.
I have a new album out, which is selling all over the world, and it also is a fundraiser. So I'm on the fundraise committee. I'm also an inductee in the Hall of Fame. Never had a number one hit.
Tell us about the building. Where is
the
the building?
building is located on 3rd Street, downtown.
In Baton Rouge.
In Baton Rouge. You know where the Coke sign is, we call it?
Sure.
It's right next to the Coke sign.
Okay.
The Coke sign is the icon of downtown. It's the old 1906 Elks Club. It's part of that building.
I see. And that's what you're going to renovate, or have you already renovated?
No, we need to. Renovation takes
lots of
money.
Right.
So basically now you're looking for those seed partners to help the organization be able to renovate.
Exactly. We've got plenty of things to fill it with, and that takes some money also to make the displays like you would want to see them. But the main thing is to renovate the building.
Now let's see a few of the. Do you have the pictures ready that we could show a few of the things that were going to be in the museum? Just to let him go through these. Tell us what we're looking at.
That's Art Neville of the Neville Brothers, and he's holding up the induction artwork for the Neville Brothers at their induction. And you can sort of tell by his expression that Art's happy with it.
Sure.
That is the next CD we're coming out with, called Good Rockin' Tonight, the true history of rock and roll - Louisiana. Everything from Lead Belly from 1925, it's volume 1. So it's 1925 partially through 1966. One song is from 1966. Jerry Lee, Elvis, Fats Domino, Little Richard, Dave Bartholomew, Hank Williams, Louis Prima. It's all on there, and it tells how rock and roll came together from gospel, from rock, from country.
What are we looking at here?
And now we have even new artists.
Well,
Tim McGraw, Trace Atkins, which are from Louisiana.
They're all from
Yeah,
Louisiana.
everybody's
And
from Louisiana.
one of our newest, Hunter Hayes,
There you go.
and Hank Williams, who we've embraced in the Hall of Fame because most of his career was in Shreveport. That is a concert that I was very proud to put together with S.J. Montalbano, one of my partners back then, Herman's Hermits, The Who, the Blues Magoos, Baton Rouge group called the In Crowd, at the Redemptress High School football field. And
which my son graduated from,
and that's
it's
the
no
only time
longer.
they've ever had a concert
So I think
there.
what we're getting at is you have enough stuff to fill the museum. So
Oh, yeah.
now we just need to get people interested in the museum and get some money flowing to get it done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I appreciate you all taking the time to come on the show and tell us about this. And if you have the information there, you've seen it on the screen. Of course, you can email me at WLFT if you there it is again. Please reach out to them. Help them the way you can help them. Find out how you can get involved, how your business or your company become a seed partner with them to help get this thing to fruition, because the music industry in Louisiana is definitely, people do not realize how powerful Louisiana
We had an
was.
attorney general that was in, and I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, but he says, we really don't have a museum. And he was like totally shocked, and I'm like, yeah. So he got with a committee, but it's just like politics, you know how that runs.
Sure. I hope you all have good success with this, and maybe in a couple of years you can come back and say, hey, this is where we're at now, okay?
Anytime.
A couple
All
of
right.
years, we'll be done.
All right. Right now, we got to take a break. We'll be back with our next guest. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome back to A Better Life. I'm your host, Dr. Lucas Fry. And in that first show segment, you got to learn about the Country Music Hall of Fame that's possibly going to be built. Well, I guess it's going to happen because you're going to get involved and make it happen, right? These old people that are dying off that founded the music industry in Louisiana deserve to have a place to be recognized. If you're interested, find out more information, get involved, make it happen. Speaking of old things, those who have watched WLFT over the past year have seen a show called Kel's Cars. And the show has been a remarkable hit. It's getting ready to premiere its second season, so I invited the guest host, or the host of the show, to come and tell us about how things are going and what's going to we expect on the second season. So let's welcome to the show Kearney Lejeune from Kel's Cars.
Hello, Doc.
Hello, Kel.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. So tell us a little bit, recap of how the second season is going to differ from the first. What basically are people in for?
Well, in for quite a change, I think. The first season was probably strictly about the nuances of owning a classic car.
Oh, there's nuances to owning a classic car?
There are nuances to owning a classic car. And understanding those should tilt decisions one way or the other. And we got into cost issues, safety issues. Season 2, on the other hand, touches on kind of the more fun part of classic cars, I think. Getting them out on the road and experiencing them in a driving environment. And then we're going to the car shows. And all of these car shows that we're trying to make are kind of unique in their own right. Some of them limit the year models of the cars that can be in the show. A lot of them have different activities that go on during that time that make it just more fun. And then there's the cars. We actually got to see cars and talk to folks that had cars that some of them I've never seen. And so you've seen them in a book or heard about them. We found them, we talked about them a little bit, and we found some pretty interesting characters along the way.
What was the most unique one that we're going to see in season 2 that you personally thought was just no one would ever see?
Well, my personal favorite and the one that I was surprised that we got to see was the Auburn at Cruising the Ghost when we went for that car show. A gentleman in Oklahoma built it and redid the engine, and it was like a 1934 model, I think. And he had an LS engine in it and beefed it up in a couple of different ways, and he drove it from Oklahoma. This is a car that's 80 years old, and he drove it from Oklahoma to Biloxi, Mississippi for that car show.
It's a long drive in an antique car.
It is indeed.
Especially a 34.
Of course, now I get technical on you here. He was telling us about his 102-inch wheelbase, and
True.
When you get length like that, you know, you got a nice smooth ride.
Smooth ride,
yeah.
No doubt. We had a guest on that's with the antique automobile group, and they basically, I was telling that years ago I was involved with the founding of a group of truck drivers with a group called the National Association of Show Trucks. We founded that back in the 90s. Well, it seems like such a long time ago now, but it grew out of frustration. The guys were at a car show or a truck show, and Ford was the sponsor. Never will forget this. It was in Las Vegas, and they announced best engine. And this Ford truck won and never lifted its hood. So all the guys that had come there and sweat, put all their money in their custom trucks and, you know, polishing out these 18-wheeler and everything else, they all come to me and said, man, you got to do something. So we started this group, and basically we kind of took the idea from that automobile, and because one of the guys belonged to that, it's been around forever. They used a point system to do the grading, and so we adopted this point system, and everybody got judged the same way, same points, you know, so that way you wasn't giving it to, it wasn't political anymore. It became how much do we see in the local car shows politics being a part of this guy wins because of, I mean, do we see, I mean, Wally seems to be trying to get that going on here, getting fair competition. Is it a big deal or is it not a big deal?
I understand there's a push going for a point system, and of course you'd have to get all the car clubs to accept the system so they can establish their point values and all that. But you know, you can't go to a car show and say, I want to win, because sometimes the winners seem like they're the perennial favorites. You see them win year after year, And look, they've got beautiful cars.
Say some of those cars deserve to win.
Yeah, yeah, and some of them deserve to win year after year. Last year at the Hot Rods show here in Baton Rouge, my 37 Dodge pickup got Best Engine. And Best Engine, it's got a 426 Hemi in it, and the Best Engine is a notable award.
Sure.
I felt good about it, and it was very pleasing for me to win it, and I thought it was probably appropriate because that was the focal point of the truck. But the point system seems to try and add some legitimacy to the objectiveness rather than being subjective.
Well, it doesn't matter if you own as many cars as you do or if a guy just owns one. Everybody wants to win. I mean, they feel like their car's special. I mean, you know, they put their heart and soul and their money into it. We'll continue this conversation when we come back, but right now we got to take a break. Then we'll come back and we'll talk more about the new season of Kel's Cars premiering on the 20th right here on WLFT. Welcome back to A Better Life. I'm your host, Dr. Lucas Fry, and we are talking about cars and classic cars. And before I jump back into this segment with Colonel Lejeune and we talk about his new season, I do want to give a shout out to Bill with Simon Tires, because Bill was going to be a guest on our show tonight. We had a lot of shows. We taped this in the evening to be convenient for the different business owners to come by and share their stories with us. And he kind of got lost in the crowd tonight. And I personally want to apologize to him. No one should have to sit in the lobby waiting to be on, and I hope he will sincerely accept my apology. If you see him, tell him, wow, I saw your apology from the TV guy because he made you wait too long. I told him to just go home to his family, enjoy his dinner, and I apologize, but hopefully he'll come back in the future and be back on. Let's get back to Kel, because as you know, you've seen me driving around in the 37. I fell in love with the cars and got involved in this thing. And you know, people don't realize what responsibility they're taking on. You get a pet, it's pretty easy.
Those with pets will probably argue with you.
I've owned a lot of dogs and cats and cows and horses and everything in my entire life. But these classic cars, you know, if you're thinking about seriously getting one, what's your personal advice to somebody? What are the three main things, if you could sum up three things that people need to consider before they buy a classic car?
Well, I think the first thing they need to consider is the kind of ride they're looking for. And real quick, you run into the 30s and 40s where you have the big cars and the smooth rides. And then you got the 50s and 60s where you got into the muscle car era, and it was more about power and the feel of power around you in the car. And then we moved on to a combination of the two, which is the resto mods, which is your basically upgrade engine and or safety equipment. Front disc brakes is my pet peeve. But
Hear you mention that a lot.
Right, and we'll continue. But you make those changes, and in the classic car industry, you just have to decide what you want to spend. And these days, you want to find something that's running and driving and being sold as a good car to have as an occasional driver, the car show car, that kind of thing, the weekend drive about out in the country, that kind of stuff. So that was what we covered. We covered different nuances of that, and then we get into that with the car shows. We got to see a lot of different car show venues, and we got to see the way that different folks view the classic car world. Some of them are all about the engine and the mechanics and muscle.
I was amazed at how you had people driving from so far. You mentioned a guy from Oklahoma City. We met people in the teaser we seen from Michigan. We saw people from long ways away driving these old cars, and not on a trailer, no support vehicle.
Tennessee, the South Carolinas, they did come from afar. They like a good show, and the hospitality that we have here in Baton Rouge lends itself toward just being a friendly environment for folks to come and be assured that they're going to probably enjoy
So the new
weekend.
season is all about going to car shows.
The new season is all about going to car shows.
Well, I know a lot about car shows because I used to run the Grand Resort Hotel in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and we had the Grand Rod Run every year at the Grand Resort, and it's probably one of the, if not the largest car shows in the United States. I mean, we had several 100,000 cars, and the amazing part about the people that always go to the car shows is the kindness. I mean, you literally could walk down the rows of cars and and never have to buy yourself a soda or a bottle of water. And I'm not talking about alcohol, but I'm talking about something to drink. If you look thirsty, somebody's going to offer you, do you need a bottle of water? It's just overabundance of kindness, you know, and the stories that that people want to share about the history of the car and where it came from, and you know, it's just a neat group of people to get to hang out with.
Well, there's two things I think about there. One is the commonality of loving the old cars, and the other is probably the frustration we've been through at certain times trying to get ideas worked out on how we're going to configure operation of certain parts or something like that. You know,
Didn't like you can go down and buy it off the shelf.
No, you cannot. I was talking to one of my guys today, and I said, what we continue to learn is that if we need it, it's missing on the car, we have to learn how to build it in most cases.
Yeah.
So.
Now you also are an advocate of not trailering. I think that one of the words I saw in one of your episodes was a trailer queen.
Right, that's a nickname.
Explain
given.
exactly what that is.
Well, nickname for a car that someone that thinks is just too good to get on the road. They don't want to get that little peck on it from a piece of pea gravel or something like that. They think they make it immune to that sort of thing by putting it on a trailer. And when you got an enclosed trailer, certainly you do have protection. But just sticking it on top of a trailer, anyway, it doesn't matter which kind of trailer you use. If you haul your car around on a trailer, it becomes a trailer queen. And when you get out and go to the car show, you're one of those guys that they go, hey, he drove a trailer queen in here. So
Get a rep real quick.
You get,
All right,
you
quickly,
get caught on it pretty quick.
before the show's over, tell us where else we're going in this new season and what are some of the cool things people can expect to see.
Well,
You said Biloxi.
we went to Biloxi. Most of the car shows are pretty local in the area. A lot of our churches in the area, as part of their fundraising, will have a car show.
So this season is Louisiana,
So this-
maybe Mississippi.
Just a few touches on Mississippi, and but mostly in the Louisiana, South Louisiana area. So same area of the country as that swamp pop music that I hope they put in that museum. When they
Swamp
build.
pop music, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show, sir. I look forward to seeing the next season, and it premieres Thursday nights, and that is March 20th is the premiere of the new season of Kel's Cars, so be sure and tune in and watch it. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Again, apologies to people that wasn't able to get on tonight. We will be having some more shows in the near future, and we hope that if you'd like to be on the show, if you have a comment about the show or a question, be sure and email me at WLFT.com. Remember, until next time, you can have a better life through Jesus Christ.